I just try to play football at the end of the day. The referees are doing their best to call the game as fair and as proper as they possibly can, and all you can do is go out there and play the game that you love as hard as you can and live with the results. And so for me, it's to go out there, play hard, try to do whatever I can to win the football game, and then live with the results based off my effort and the way that we played the game. And so I think that's what we preach here in Kansas City. I haven't felt any different. You get new referees every year. You get new circumstances, and you never can really tell because every play is different. That's what makes the NFL so special. And so I feel like I've just continued to play the game, and I just try to win. And whatever happens, kind of happens.
So this is the same individual that had so much to say when him and Josh Allen went at it, and he lost based on a call. Some of you may have forgot about that game, but Patrick Mahomes was visibly upset. He even said something to Josh Allen at the end of the game about it. So it's very rich. It's very rich to hear this coming from him. Just get out there, just play the game, just accept the outcome of the calls. It almost sounds like he's trying to get people ready for what's about to happen. Let's get into this one. Says the Houston Texans might think Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs received favorable calls from the game officials, but Mahomes doesn't agree. I don't feel that way, Mahomes said Wednesday as the Chiefs began preparations for Sunday's AFC Championship game against the Buffalo Bills at Arrowhead Stadium. At the end of the day, the referees are doing their best to call the game as fair and as proper as they possibly can. And all you can do is go out there and play the game that you love as hard as you can and live with the results. I think that's what we preach here in Kansas City. That's what they preach out there in Kansas City. You get new referees every year. You get new circumstances, and you could never really tell because every play is different, and that's what makes the NFL so special. I feel like I've just continued to play the game, and I just try to win. And whatever happens, kind of happens. Now, listen. This is a very hot topic. All right. Now, you guys know I'm not a big fan of getting into the whole, oh, it's rigged and this is rigged and that's rigged. Now, what I do believe is sometimes, there could be potentially, a ref or two that can influence decisions and can influence games, right? That's what I do believe. Now, when it comes into the calls and the situations, we know. And we've seen it, and I think we've seen it more than usual this season, where there have been specific calls in these games that have been questionable and raise a lot of eyebrows. Now, on the flip side, we see other quarterbacks, where things happen and the calls aren't there. And so it starts to make people question, well, what the hell's going on? Why does Patrick get these calls, but maybe my quarterback doesn't, or maybe this quarterback doesn't? And so, I think, to be honest, one of the big problems when it comes to these Kansas City games is they are highly scrutinized. I'm not sure if there's an extra set of eyes on Patrick Mahomes, but it just seems like the refs are totally dialed in to whatever happens to him. And even the slightest of touch will lead to a flag. And it's really unfortunate because this is not football to us. For who have been watching it for a long time. This is not how the game is played or how the game should be played for some of us who've been watching this game for a long time. So, it's really sad to see what's going on here. Now, thoughts in regards to the situation specifically into what he's saying is, I think he's getting the people prepared. I think he's getting everyone who's going to be watching on Sunday specifically what may or may not happen coming into this game as we keep it going. Says the Texans were twice penalized for hits against Mahomes, and last week's divisional round game both happened to Chiefs scoring drives, with one being on third down to extend the drive. We knew it was going to be us versus the refs going into this game, Texans defensive end Will Anderson Jr. said. After the 23-14 loss, the Chiefs versus Bills has developed into one of the NFL's top rivalries. This will be the fourth time in 5 seasons that the teams have met in the playoffs and their second matchup in the AFC Championship game. The Chiefs won the first 3, but the Bills have won the regular season matchup. between the teams in each of the past 4 seasons. So there you go. There you go. Now, I do want to point this out before we keep it going. Make sure you guys hit that like, hit that thumbs up. I have to point this out. And so before I get into the chat, before I get into the comments, I have to point this out. This will be the 4th time that the Bills and the Chiefs meet in the playoffs. Now, as the Bills fans and Bills Mafia know, that number does not sit right with us. Four times does not sit right with us. And so I think this is very interesting. I think there's going to be a lot riding on this game, and we're going to see flags. We're going to see ridiculous calls. So we might as well get prepared for it, right? If you're prepared for it, it's less of a blow. If you're not prepared for it and your expectations are so high and you're thinking that this is just going to be a game called fair, I think you're looking at it the wrong way. Now, once again, I'm not saying that I think the game is rigged. I just think that these games with Kansas City are highly scrutinized, considering these are the Super Bowl champions. This is Patrick Mahomes, right? He is the poster child for the NFL. So when you look at these games and how the refs may, micromanage the situation when it comes to Patrick Mahomes, I think that's why these calls happen. And I think that's why it's kind of ridiculous that it happens. My thing is, Patrick, don't be a hypocrite. You went off. And had a conversation with Josh Allen on the field because you didn't like that offsides called when you guys were going through the motions and the issues and you had a big touchdown call back. So I'm just saying, don't be a hypocrite. Now let me get into this chat with y'all. So does someone expect him to answer this any different? Yeah, I don't think anybody did. Jamie says, is anyone surprised that he disagrees the way they treated Josh last year? Shout out to you, Blind Faith. Good morning. Good morning. Shout out to Texas in the building. Jason says it's 3 degrees here in Bridgewater, Ohio. It was -4 this morning in Fairmont, West Virginia, where I live. It's tough. Tough for sure. Man, you in 2 places? Oh, okay. I see you just talking about the weather. I'm like, man, you in 2 places at the same time? Chris TV says Mahomes probably could use a vacation. Tyrone says, why would you defend something that is not? Maybe you feel guilty, right? Because we're starting to see the conversation come up more and more. So it's like, okay, why is this being mentioned so much now? Why are they okay with sticking up for the refs now? People have been talking about the refs and calls and situations for years. Why are they starting to come out now before the championship and the Super Bowl and things like that? I think that's really interesting, right? As they say, a hit dog will what? Holler.